Hello world, Alexandre Buckley here, and let's talk games. So, what I wanted to do for this next series is kind of go back on some retro consoles and explore some of the classic titles on older consoles. And really, this is one of the best games that sort of came out of nowhere. I remember growing up that this just sort of took over by storm. It was an exceptionally good game which no one saw coming, and that was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, the original. So when the game first came out, there wasn't really any other skating games to talk about. There may have been like one or two titles that were kind of there and around, but this kind of started off the entire craze. And these games very quickly became sort of the gold standard, and they became this sort of like really cultural defining thing. And it became one of those must-have titles on every games console. So as you can see here, graphically it's not the greatest thing in the world, but keep in mind this is a PlayStation 1 this is running on. Well, I mean, I've put this for a PS2 to capture it, but basically this is PS1 graphics, and it's real simple. You just basically took over as a pro skater, and then you try to get the highest score possible. It's been a few years since I've played this, so bear with me as I try to remember all the controls and stuff. But yeah, very simple, get high scores, collect skate, that kind of thing. And I'll be honest with you, this is one of the funnest games you can ever play. It's very simple. I haven't played this in years, but as you can see, I've already kind of muscle memory sort of kicking in as I remember how to do certain things. The thing I did find with the Pro Skater games, which I'm finding now, is things you got used to as the series grew and moved on. They weren't in the early version. You forget how basic this version was. But even still, saying how basic it is, the animations and stuff and the actual controls of what you can and can't do, pretty good. It's pretty impressive. And this game looks a lot better than I thought it was going to look. I mean, granted, the character models are very blocky, but then keep in mind, this is PlayStation 1 era, so it's not going to be, the most graphically intensive game, but still, I think it looks amazing. The environment looks great. And it's real simple. You had a time trial, about 2 minutes, to see how high you could get as a score. And I remember as well, this game, when it's a way bigger throwback for people that are way young, but before mobile gaming became a big thing, before it became actually possible to say, hey, we can play proper games on a mobile phone, there was a phone released by Nokia called Nokia N-Gage, and this was one of their main titles they put on there to sort of say, hey, look, we can run a console quality game, and it was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1. I remember seeing this on someone's Nokia being like, that's insane, something that you can play on a PlayStation is actually on someone's mobile phone. So yeah, this game did have like a big impact, and I am playing terribly at it. But it's really hard to sort of pin down how important this game was, because I remember skateboarding being kind of like a subculture thing, and then once this game came out, it took about 3 months before pretty much everyone in my school, and then just kids in general, as you were walking around or travelling around or going on holidays, started using skateboards. It became like a thing. It made skateboarding very cool, very popular. It made household names out of there's the other skateboarders on here, because a few people knew who Tony Hawk was before the game came out, but like Bob Burnquist and Bam Margera, all these other things, they became a lot more prominent after the exposure of this video game. So it was just an awesome game. Really simple game to play, but just absolutely awesome as well. I'm not going to save my terrible progress. I think I did okay, considering I've not played this in a few years. I didn't get the top score. The top score is apparently 15,000. We'll try again and see what we can do. But yeah, I thought as a PlayStation 1 classic, what a great game to start with. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Very fun, very arcadey, very simple game. Get the high score, collect the letters, knock boxes over. And the levels were just great. They were really detailed, they were really fun. And it's a cool throwback as the series grew and went on. I think it's Tony Hawk's Underground? I think it's Underground. They go back to this original level and use it as sort of like a proving ground area, which was really good fun. So if you've been playing the game for a few years at this point, you kind of got to that stage in the series and just went, oh sick, yeah, awesome. It's a nice retro throwback. But this game holds up surprisingly well, considering how old it is. And yeah, I'm really pleased with it. I remember seeing interviews as well that when Tony Hawk originally was pitched the idea, he wasn't banking on it being as big as it was. I think he just kind of thought it'd be good if the game looked authentic. I remember seeing an interview of him. I think he did it with Wired. If I find out the interview, I'll stick it in the comment section, the little description box. But he did an interview and he just sort of said, look, it was good, I got a little check, whatever, but I just wanted the game to be sort of as realistic as they could get it, obviously with computer limitations at the time, so he just didn't want it to look too cartoony or too arcadey. He wanted it to look like that's how a skateboarder would look if they jumped and they moved. So yeah, I think he did the motion capture for all of it, and I think he was pleased with the result, but even he was sort of blown away by how popular the game was. I remember when the second one came out, that was like a big leap forward, and people were just stunned at how far they'd taken the series. But I spent hours playing this game. It got to the point that you could just, because they're only 2 minutes, you had 2 minutes to complete every level, so you could spend hours just trying to master each level before you unlock the next level. And there was like collectibles to get, you could get boards, wheels, all sorts of fun stuff like that. But in a nutshell, that was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, one of the best games ever to come out on the PlayStation 1, in my opinion. The thing that's really sad to think of now is how the series hasn't aged as gracefully as it could have. It sort of hit a peak around Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. That was when the game really came into its own. It became like the defining version of it. Not going to save my progress again, no way. I'm playing really badly. But as a starting point, I think the first 3 Pro Skater games are amazing. If you've missed out on this one, try and get your hands on it, because it's absolutely brilliant. And they ported it across to many things as well, so I'm sure you can get your hands on a copy. I haven't played on a course on a PlayStation 2. Would have done it on PS3, but my fat PS3 broke, so I'm having to capture off a PS2 to get the best image quality, but it's still a bit dated in the 4:6 ratio, but whatever. So that's going to do it for this one today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this retro throwback. If you like the video, please hit the like button, and I'd really appreciate it if you could all subscribe to the channel as well to help me grow. But that's going to do it for this one, guys, so have a good one, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.